Hi guys, welcome to my channel. Welcome back if you are a subscriber, or welcome if you are new to the channel. Today I'd like to do something slightly different. No records today, but what I would like to talk about is what I think the top 5 tips I've learned in the last 5-6 years. I've been recollecting records, specifically using Discogs. Now, I have bought a handful of records here and there on eBay. Hard to get records. I think one of the first records I bought actually was off eBay. That was the Gary Newman Living Ornaments box set. But generally speaking, I tend to buy a lot off of Discogs, and I think over the last 5-6 years I've gathered enough experience in using Discogs that I can probably offer a little bit of advice on how to get the best out of it. These are just my tips. You may have other ideas on the best way of using Discogs, but this is just what I've learned over the last 5 or 6 years, like I say. Right, so kicking off, number 1, before you buy anything on Discogs, do your research. And that could mean going on the Hoffman forum or looking at other YouTube videos. If you're going to go on the Hoffman forum, there's going to be a lot of information there. Some of it could be conflicting, but there is a lot of good information on there. If you're going to go on YouTube, regarding what pressings are the better ones to get, etc., I can highly recommend InGroove. His Mike's shootout videos are excellent. They're really well thought out, and they do give a wealth of information. 45 RPM audiophile is pretty good as well, although he does tend to, up until recently, he's tended to just deal with reissues, but the last 6 months or so he's been getting into OG pressings and stuff like that, and he's suddenly realised that a lot of the time OG pressings are better than the reissues. But you know, but there's a lot of information out there. Like I say, do your research so you know exactly what record it is that you want to buy, i.e. what version, what pressing, etc. When you know what you want, the next thing is number 2, and that is the correct version and filtering and using Discogs to find what you want, really. So when I use Discogs, if I'm looking for a record, by now I would have done my research. I'll know it's released, the date, the year it was released, the date it was released. I will know or have a better idea of who the mastering engineer was. I will probably know by this time what the matrix numbers are, what I'm looking for. I need to gather this information before I go to Discogs. You can't just go to Discogs and choose the earliest pressing that you can find and think that that's the first pressing, because they're done by years, and that year there might have been 3 or 4 reissues after the initial pressing. You know, so if you want a first pressing, you're going to need to know the matrix numbers, because that will have the different mastering numbers on them, so you will know what mastering you've got on that version. A good example of this is Days of Future Past by the Moody Blues. I've got 4 versions of that now. One of them's a first pressing. One is a pressing from 1972, I think. It's a reissue with an slightly alternate sleeve. I've got the Speaker's Corner, and I've got the 50th anniversary. But when that was released, not only did you have the mono version, you had the stereo version, and then there were about 3 or 4 reissues that year in 1967 of each. You know, so you need to know what you're looking for. So when I go to Discogs, once I know what it is, I filter by year first and then by country, because if you're only specifically looking for UK, you need to filter out all of the noise from the other countries, so you just get the year and the country, and then you've got to start looking for the correct matrix numbers, and that could be, you know, you might be lucky and there might be just 4 releases that year, so just go through those 4 releases, check the matrix numbers, and once you find the pressing, the release on Discogs that is correct to what you're looking for, we then get on to stage 3, which is number 3, condition. You've got the Goldmine standard. I'll link in the description below my video on Goldmine grading, but you've got VG and near mint. So VG plus to near mint. Whenever I buy anything off Discogs, I will not buy anything other than near mint record, VG plus or near mint jacket. Only on rare occasions will I buy a VG plus record. I always try and buy near mint. I think that's just my slant on it. If you're looking for a good player, I wouldn't go below VG plus. That's just my advice. Anything below that, you're going to start getting a little bit of wear in the grooves, maybe, where it's been played quite a lot. You know, so you need to decide on the condition that you're willing to accept. Go by the Goldmine standard and then filter via Discogs the condition that you're looking for. Now, when you filter on Discogs for condition, I think it filters by record. So if you filter near mint, it will just show up all near mint records, and it could be any condition jacket. You know, so I generally filter near mint, and it will just bring up all the near mint records with the various condition jackets. Okay, that's what you need to decide on the condition. Okay, once you've decided on condition, you then search Discogs. Once you find a copy of a record on there that you like, we then get on to stage 4, and that is, my notes down here say email, email, email. Don't assume what is being sold is what it is. Confirm with the seller that the record that he's selling is the one that you're looking for, and that actually goes into my fifth tip actually. But yeah, so confirm with the seller what he's selling is correct, i.e. are the matrix numbers correct, are the dead wax etchings correct, is it right to what you want. Okay, once you've established that, we then get on to step 5, sorry, which is a little bit of number 4 as well actually, and it says don't assume he's right, new versus used. Now, I've been stung, I suppose, a couple of 3 times on this. One was Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars. There was a pressing of that that was a reissue. It was a 30th anniversary pressing of Ziggy Stardust, and it was cut from the original analog master tapes, and I wanted that version. However, in its sealed condition, when it's in shrink, you can't tell between that and a digital remaster. The only way of telling is by reading the dead wax. Idiot that I was, I did all what I was doing here. I went through and I emailed. I got to the email stage, and obviously this version was sealed. It was being listed as mint. So I emailed the guy and I said, is this the 30th anniversary? And he said, oh yeah, it is. And I thought, right, okay. And I bought it, £25 I think it cost me. When I got it, cracked it open, looked at the dead wax, it was the digital remaster. Got stung there. So my little bit of advice here is, if you're looking for a specific version and you can't tell what it is, if it's sealed, buy a used one, because then you can get the seller to check the dead wax. I recently had another issue similar to this, and that was my Lana Del Rey Ultraviolence record. Now, I bought this sealed, and it was being sold as a sealed first pressing from 2012, I think it was, 13, something like that, 2013, I think. Anyway, it was being sold as a first pressing. Now, in my defence, when you look on Discogs, the first pressings have, I mean, this is not in the shrink now, but the first pressings have a little black sticker, parental advisory, explicit lyrics, little black sticker. That's it, that's all that's on there. And that's all that mine had, that's all that this had. It just had a little sticker, and I thought, right, it's sealed, but it's got the correct sticker on the shrink wrap. I emailed the seller, he told me, yeah, it is a first pressing. So I got it, cracked it open, and the dead wax matrix code is not even on Discogs. It's a UK pressing, but the matrix code is totally different to what's on Discogs as a first pressing. I then looked at a reissue, and it's totally different. This is not even listed on Discogs, this version, and this is a UK, this was bought sealed. So what I did was I went on Discogs, on the first pressing Discogs, and I edited the listing and added my matrix numbers, because I thought, oh, the likelihood is it might be a second pressing from the same year, maybe from a different mastering, different pressing plant or something like that. I wasn't sure, but it all looked right. It all looked perfect to a first pressing. The little sticker and everything. The reissues had a big sticker listing some of the tracks on it, because by that time she'd released some singles off of it. So they listed the singles on the hype sticker of the reissue. This didn't have the reissue hype sticker on it. So I edited my listing on Discogs. The day later, I got a message on Discogs saying that they'd not accepted my update, that it was the reissue. So, you know what? I don't know what I've got. I know it sounds fantastic. I know everything stacks up. Everything stacks up on this as a first pressing, except the matrix numbers. So go figure. You know, so I did get a little bit stung there, but it's a little bit up in the air. I don't know, you know. So yeah, don't assume it's right. If you really want to confirm that you're getting the right thing, buy a used one. Don't buy sealed, because the seller is not going to crack it open to prove a point. They're not going to do it, because as soon as they crack that cellophane, it's no longer sealed. It's no longer mint. A mint in inverted commas, you know. So they're my 5 tips, well, sort of 4.5 tips on using Discogs. So just to recap, do your research before you even go to Discogs. Make sure you've got all the information that you need, matrix numbers, release date, right down to the month if you can get it. If you can get mastering information, because sometimes the dead wax will note the mastering engineer. For example, I've got Brothers in Arms by Dire Straits. Although that's a digital record, it was recorded digitally. It sounds fantastic, first pressings of that were cut by Bob Ludwig, and if you look on the dead wax, it'll have RL on there. So I know that's a first pressing. The matrix numbers all stack up, and it's got RL on there. I know it was a Bob Ludwig mastering. I know it's a first pressing and not a reissue. So, but yeah. Make sure that you get the correct version on Discogs. Use the filtering system correctly. Filter by year and country, regarding whatever country you're looking for, and try and drill down as deep as you can to get the right one that you're looking for, really. And then the condition, as a rule of thumb, it's just my 2 cents worth. I don't buy anything less than near mint record, VG plus jacket. That's just my standard that I set myself. Obviously you've got to set your own. Email the seller, ask questions, get him to confirm dead wax etchings. A good example of this is I bought Rumours. Oh no, it's there, isn't it? There we go. Yeah, so I bought this about a year or so ago. This is the Japanese first pressing of Rumours from 1977. This is in VG plus near mint condition. It's it's immaculate condition, really. The Obi's in perfect condition. This was mastered at Capitol, but the only way of telling is it's etched, stamped on the dead wax. There's a load of these Japanese these Japanese first pressings that were not mastered at Capitol. They were mastered in Japan. They're not the ones you want. What they actually done was they made the plates at Capitol in the US and shipped them over to Japan. They used basically the American mastering on the Japanese super quiet vinyl, so you've got all of the bells and whistles of a Japanese pressing, but with the US mastering, which is the sweet spot for this album, really. If you haven't got it, it's worth it, but it's quite expensive. I bought this from a guy in, I think it was South Korea. Yeah, I forget how much I paid for this. It wasn't astronomical, but it's expensive for a single album. But, but I made sure that I confirmed the dead wax etchings. I emailed him and said, has the dead wax got mastered by Capitol, stamped in the dead wax? He confirmed it. I think he even sent me a photograph of it. So yeah, email. Don't assume it's right. If you really want to confirm everything's right, don't buy a sealed one. Buy a used one, but in near mint condition. Ask for dead wax etchings. Ask the questions that need to be asked before you commit spending your money, especially if it's on a high value record. Generally speaking, people that sell high value records on Discogs, they know what they're talking about. They're normally professional sellers. They know what they've got, but you still need to confirm it. Case in question is Joy Division's An Ideal for Living EP. You need to be super careful with that because there's so many different bootlegs out there that look identical. It's really difficult to tell a first pressing from a reissue, or a first pressing from a bootleg. You need to know what you're talking about for that record, and that goes for thousands, and it's only a 7-inch EP. That sounds awful, by the way, so don't waste your money. Anyway, that's it for today. I just thought I'd do this very brief video. It's just my advice, take it or leave it. It's what I've learnt since I've been using Discogs. I enjoy using Discogs. I know I've got a handful of sellers on Discogs that I do return business with because I know they're good, and it's always worth bookmarking those in Discogs. and searching their online shops occasionally, because sometimes, you know, they will have records that you want, and you can try, once you've got a rapport with a certain seller, they will sort of look after you to a certain degree, you know, and I've found that with a couple of sellers that I've got to know via email on Discogs. So yeah, that is it for today. Probably got a shootout video coming up, some more vinyl finds coming up. If you like the content, hit like and subscribe, give it a thumbs up, and I shall see you in the next one. Cheers, bye bye.